This video is going to be a conclusion to my White Liberals, Nice Guys, and the Negro series. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the nicest guy of all. Who's the nicest guy of all? The Afro-American Negro. And why is the Negro the nicest guy in the room? Because he seeks the approval of two people. The first person the Negro seeks the approval of is this white liberal. And the reason why the Negro seeks the approval of the white liberal is because he has low self-esteem. When it comes down to the Negro, he's always looking for the approval of any white person. And because the white liberal is the only person who will pay attention to him, he thinks that this white person, has some sort of value and some sort of merit. He never assesses, the white person in front of him to see if this person, has any, merits to their arguments or merits to anything. He just sees white skin and he thinks automatically, because a white person is saying something about me, then therefore they are valuable and they are going to increase my value in terms of social status. This is what the Negro thinks. And because he's always seeking the approval of your white liberal, like most nice guys do, he winds up giving away his power. And this is something the Negro does every day. He will just give his personal power away, his physical power, and his mental power. He'll give all of that away just to win the approval of a white person. If a white person were to give a Negro a hug or a pat on the head, that would make him feel proud. Now, the rest of us would say that's just degrading and insulting, but your Negro will just take that because he thinks any attention from a white person is good attention. He does not, have enough sense of self-worth to say, I don't need anybody else's attention. I don't need anybody else's approval. And what happens with your Negro, because he seeks the approval of white liberals, is that not only does he give his power away, he winds up, behind the eight ball. Because when you give your power away to somebody else and you seek their approval, you are making their needs a priority and not yours. And instead of you going out to seek out to do what you need to do for yourself, you're seeking out to go out and do things to please this entity known as white people. And this is what really messes the Negro up, because he's looking for white validation, white approval, and white acceptance. And this is what nice guys do on the regular. They'll see a group of cool people and they'll go out and buy the Air Jordan sneakers or the jogging suits or all the cool clothes in the hopes of getting the attention and approval of these people. And because they seek the approval and the attention of these people, they wind up being seen as lame. The reason why they're being seen as lame is not because they bought the stuff. It is because the reasons why they bought the stuff. They bought the stuff seeking for approval of others instead of saying, you know what, if I like something, I'm going to go buy it for myself. I'm going to buy what I like. I'm going to do what I want to do and forget everybody else. But no, the nice guy, he thinks that he needs things, attachments, to get the attention of others. He doesn't have the confidence in self to go out and do what they like, seek out to accomplish whatever goals they want to accomplish, pursue the things that they want to do, and live life on their terms. No, they wind up living their lives on somebody else's terms. And this is what the Negro does on the daily. He's always seeking the approval of a white person, and he cannot feel satisfied or happy unless he is following a white standard. Instead of creating his own standard for his own community, his own standard for culture, his own standard for values, he winds up going out and trying to make everything fit into a white standard and look for acceptance from other white people. And this is what really, again, sets him behind, because he makes their needs a priority. He makes, whenever a white person, walks in the room, the Negro is the first person to jump up. Just like the nerdy kid, whenever the cool people walk in, he's the first one to jump up. Now, the regular person, the cool people can walk in, he just won't care because, he's doing his own thing. He's running things his way. He doesn't care. But the Negro, he's the first one running up, first one seeking approval, and he's the last one to get any approval because why? He gave his power away. He let these people know that they have power over him, they have control over him, and if they set the standards for him, then he doesn't set in. He's following their standard. He's following their standard. He's not following his own. And because he's following their standard, like the nice guys do, this is something nice guys do. They wind up following other people, and they never wind up leading themselves. They wind up looking for somebody to lead them, somebody to dictate to them. And this is why they are only moderately successful or even next to no way successful, because they never, set goals for themselves or set any type of mission to accomplish. Instead, they're living for somebody else's mission. They're living to be somebody else's lackey. They're living to be somebody's underling. And they're living to achieve someone else's goals and not their own. They never put themselves first. And this is another thing that really messes the Negro up. He puts the white liberal first, which is why he keeps voting down a Democratic ticket instead of, creating his own political party or looking at other parties. You know, he goes out and seeks the approval of these people, and these people just they use that, they get leverage over him, and they use it to beat him over the head and keep him in a perpetual state of mental poverty and economic poverty and also spiritual poverty, because he doesn't seek to go out and seek his own answers and go out and do his own thing. But this is what nice guys do. This is why nice guys really don't. This is why they so-called finish last, because they're always looking out for others, and they're not thinking about, are these people looking out for me? And the Negro does this with the white liberal quite a bit. He's always seeking out the white liberal and trying to get things from him in a give to get situation, but never asking, what is the white liberal going to do for me? What is his purpose in my life? What does he serve for me? He never asks that question. No, he doesn't ask that question because, again, like the nice guy, he's seeking approval from this person. So he doesn't see an interdependent relationship where both partners are equal and both partners, are responsible for things. But no, he's in a codependent relationship where the white liberal has all the power and the Negro has no power. And in his niceness, in his trying to be nice and trying to make these white liberals happy, he winds up miserable. Because if you look at your Afro-American Negro community, many of these Negro leaders, they live to make these white people happy, these white liberals happy. Many of these Negroes, live never to offend any white people. Yet they wind up the most miserable people because they don't understand that the white liberals' world is smooth. And it's smooth because in order for his world to function, your world has to be dysfunctional. Because in his eyes, he sees you as less than man. He sees you as a savage. He sees you as a brute. He sees you as violent prone. And this is why you're never going to get his approval, because he does not see you on a level, at the same level as he is. He sees you, again, as beneath him. But you Negroes, you don't see that. You just, because you're nice guys, you don't see that, like the nerdy kid, you don't see that the cool people just don't respect you. And because you have no self-respect, you continue to seek their approval, thinking that if you change yourself or you do things, these people are going to accept you. No, it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Unless you accept you, no one is going to accept you. And this is something that the Negro has never come to terms with. He's never said to himself, you know what, I have to like being Negro. I have to find pride in being black. I have to like being black. This is something even your pro-blacks can't do, because if we look at them, also seeking the approval of white people, whenever this pro-black gets outside, who's the first woman he's trying to pursue? White woman. Whenever you see this pro-black female, who is she trying to pursue? White man. Shows you that, again, nice guy syndrome all over again. And what the pro-black is he's basically the jerk side of the nice guy that the Negro is. Because the pro-black he's just a loudmouth and a loudmouth female. And they're just saying that they hate the white man, when in actuality, they love him more than the regular black person. Now, the other person that the Afro-American Negro seeks the approval of is your black female. And because your Negro seeks the approval of this black woman, she also gets power over him. And what's so really dysfunctional about this relationship between your Afro-American Negro man and your Afro-American Negro woman is that Negro male doesn't even understand, how dysfunctional this relationship is, because the Negro male is supposed to be the leader. I mean, according to his Bible, he's supposed to be the leader and the head of the family. However, whenever his woman comes by, any woman, he's ready to give away his personal power. When we look at this Afro-American Negro nice guy, you just put a female in the room, and you'll see all of these Negro males running to get her attention, running to seek her approval, running to give her whatever she wants. And because they do that, again, they wind up giving away their personal power, and this woman gets leverage over them. And because they're seeking to please her, they wind up never achieving anything that they wanted to do in life. They never wind up accomplishing anything that they want to do in life. And just like the white liberal who they seek approval of, the female looks down at this Afro American Negro male nice guy. They look down at him in contempt. They have no respect for him. They have no regard for him. And that's because, again, he's coming from the wrong position. This is the big problem with nice guys. Nice guys are always looking up to people instead of looking directly at them. A man who looks directly at you is a man who respects you. A man who looks up at you is a man who feels powerless in front of you. And this is one of the big problems with your Afro American Negro. Because he's a nice guy, because he's a Charlie Brown, he's always seeking the approval of people like the like the white liberal and these Afro American Negro women that don't respect him, don't regard him, and don't see him as anything. And the problem with the Afro American Negro when it comes to his woman is that he thinks that this woman is a queen, and he comes from that, again, from that single mother household he was raised in. Because she was the teacher of culture and the only leader in the household, many of these Negroes have a queen complex, and I've gone into that in depth in the video I did called Negro Males and the Queen Complex. And many of these Negroes, they look at this woman, they look at her as a goddess, they look at her as powerful because she was the only one who would facilitate meeting his needs. She is the only one who would pay attention to him. And because he grows up with that from his mother, he then transfers that relationship to his relationships with other women. And when he tries to transfer that relationship, with other women, he winds up in a codependent situation where she winds up having power over him. This is why many of the guys who come out of single mother households wind up becoming this nice guy Negro. And this nice guy Negro, winds up again behind the eight ball. Why? Because he is putting her needs first, and he grows up thinking that he has to make her first. Now, that's not the case at all. A healthy, balanced male, growing up, he's going to start saying, I need to put my needs first. I need to put my goals first. I need to do what I need to do, and I need to set a standard for myself and the things I want to accomplish. This is the big problem with your nice guy Negro. He never puts himself first. He never thinks about putting himself first, and he feels guilty if he puts himself first. And this is what happens to them. They start saying, oh, I can't do that because of white people. I can't do that because of this black woman. So the white liberal and the black woman are first and second, and he winds up third. And when you wind up third in your own life, you're going to wind up never accomplishing anything and never achieving anything because you're living to please others. You're living to meet somebody else's standard. You're living to make somebody else happy. And the problem with that is those people are never going to be happy. The only person who can make you happy is you. You cannot please others. You cannot, take care of others. You cannot even seek the approval of others. You cannot make other people happy. That's not your job. I mean, God put you on the earth to take care of you, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make your needs a priority, your goals a priority. And this is the big problem with many of your Afro-American Negro males. They grow up, with a lot of this toxic guilt and this toxic shame, and people make them feel ashamed of going out to do for self. They make them feel bad about going out and do for themselves. Like this starts with a single mother who's the first teacher of culture. She'll be sitting there saying, you know what, son, you need to look out for me when I get older. You need to care for me. That's not his job. I mean, if you made some bad decisions, that's on you. And then you have the white liberal coming in talking about how he needs to serve. That's not his job. I mean, these two people want you to give them approval, but then they never want to, reciprocate in exchange. You can give them everything, and because they're ungrateful, they'll sit there and tell you it's never enough. They're always telling you it's never enough, and that's how they keep you in a codependent relationship. This is the string that they, attach to the Afro-American Negro, is that everything that he does, everything that he accomplishes, it's never enough for those two people, your white liberal and your Afro-American Negro woman. The two of them, you could go out and make $1 billion, and they'll tell you it's not valuable because they want to keep you chasing the carrot of their standard and not, going to achieve your own. I mean, a man who can go out here and accomplish something, they'll tell him it's never enough. Because again, they're codependent. They need to have that power over someone. They need to have that control over someone. They need to dictate terms to someone. And the sad part is many of your Negroes, they never, come to the point where they say, I need to stop being the nice guy. I need to stop trying to seek out the approval of others, and I need to start, seeking out the approval of self and do what I find, appealing to me, and what appeases to my standard, what meets my standards, and set goals to accomplish what I want to accomplish in life. And I need to put myself first. And as the Iceman said in one of his videos, you need to put yourself first and last, because these people are not going to make you a priority. You need to make yourself a priority. And this is something that, your Afro-American Negro male needs to do. But your Afro-American Negro, because he has a lot of low self-esteem, he won't go out here and do this. He won't have the backbone, to put himself first. But I'm hoping that more people, more men, will make that effort, because the only way for things to be good for you is for you to make them good. The only way for things to be better or for you to make them better. And most black men, they have to start making efforts to break away from this nice guy syndrome. I mean, I've seen the roots of this dysfunctional, life paradigm, and it starts out, from childhood again, from guys being raised by single mothers or with a too close attachment to their mothers. And this nice guy paradigm, always winds up with the male winding up being lost, winding up being left behind. And the people who he seeks approval of, they're going ahead in life and he's being left in the dust. And because he's being left in the dust, he's winding up getting frustrated, getting angry, and he winds up doing things that are completely self-destructive to himself. And the nice guy, again, he's not very nice. It's not a very nice life paradigm. And the Negro follows this life paradigm to the letter, more so than your white liberal. And your white liberal, he's pretty much screwed up. And what the Negro has to do, and it's the only time I'm going to give him a solution, is he's got to break away from this pattern of the nice guy syndrome. He's got to break away. It doesn't mean being a jerk. It means being a balanced male. It means putting yourself first. It means doing for yourself. It means, setting goals you want to accomplish. It means, getting away from dysfunctional and toxic people. Stop seeking the approval of others and go out and achieve what you want to achieve and go out and do what you want to do. And a lot of times it's going to be painful in the beginning, but the Negro, he's got to start doing that type of work if he hopes to grow. And because this nice guy syndrome, it has messed up it's messed up a couple of generations of males. And I look at the paradigm and it has to change. I'm seeing guys starting to make efforts to do that, and I'd like to see more guys start to make efforts to do that, because, life is too short to seek the approval of someone else, and it's too short to give away your personal power to people who don't value it, people who don't appreciate it, and people who are going to keep you, in a perpetual state of codependency where they maintain leverage over you by continuing to raise the standards and change the standards, just like your black woman does with this whole "I want a good man." That's also, a component of it, because they're always coming to you with this good man and this imaginary construct, and they hoping that guys will chase the carrot, just like the white liberal, creates the standard for success, and he creates that carrot for the Negro to chase. And because he's got you chasing, you're not chasing what you want, you're chasing what they want. And as long as the Negro chases that, he's going to wind up, again, behind the 8 ball and behind the rest of the world. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.